So uh, please govern yourself accordingly when you put things, in the chat. Make sure it's not something that you wouldn't want to share with maybe a couple of hundred other Zoho users that are out there. But again, this is Karen Fredericks. Most of you know me. I'm a Zoho Advanced Partner. I moved up in the world, so that's kind of exciting. And we're going to be talking about email setup. Again, it's very technical stuff. I apologize in advance. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. And I will be uploading this whole presentation, the whole slide deck, to my YouTube channel. You'll be getting a link to that. Give me a few days to upload it. So you don't have to scramble around taking notes. You will be able to go back and look at these slides because I know it's technical. So here we go. So here's today's agenda, and I got a lot. We're going to talk about different ways that you can email from inside Zoho. You've got about 4 choices. We're going to talk about integrating with an existing email client. We're going to talk about what is Zoho Mail. We're going to talk about deliverability and DKIM and authentication, my least favorite topics. We're going to talk about templated emails, how to create some templates, how we could you do e-blast, a couple of methods using our templates. And then we're going to have a couple of special tips that I have for you as always, and an open Q&A about anything that's on your mind. And although I'm happy to answer any questions, try to keep them related to Zoho. So first off, what is Zoho Mail? I get a lot of people that reach out to me. They go, "Oh, Karen, can you help me set up my Zoho Mail?" I can't help you set up Zoho Mail. Sometimes you're using the wrong term. Zoho Mail is actually a separate product that you can purchase. We are not talking about that today. Zoho Mail is like an alternative to Outlook. Today we are going, and you don't need to have Zoho Mail to actually send email in Zoho CRM. We are not talking about that today. Zoho Mail would be for those of you that maybe don't want to use Outlook anymore, or maybe you're using Thunderbird, or maybe you're using Gmail, Google for your email. It's just an email client, and that's not what we're talking about today. So why emailing from inside Zoho CRM matters? Well, the idea is you can see a full record of all your communications with a contact. Every email is automatically logged to either a contact or a deal. Your team can see a full conversation, even if you have separate mailboxes. So I've got, separate mailboxes for the people in my organization, but by using this integration between my Outlook and Zoho, everybody can read the comments that are contact specific. We don't have to dig around for our inbox to find something. Oh, where was that email from Missy? I don't know where it was. I could look right on Missy's record and see it. So Zoho CRM gives you a bunch of options. You notice I've got 1-star and 2-star. So 1-star is just integrating with your Outlook or your Gmail or your Thunderbird or your, I don't know if I can integrate with AOL, but Apple. And then we have the basic Zoho email from within CRM, one-off templated email, and email blast. And I give those 2 stars. So the integrated model is basically you're not using a template. You're going in there. You'll be able to see your email in Outlook or Gmail. It sends to your own server. It will record the history back into Zoho CRM, but any limitations are imposed by your own system. So if it's not working, it has something to do with your own system, not necessarily Zoho. And this is something you can use for unique conversations, kind of one-offs. I find that I'm using that much less and less. We can use the Zoho model, which pulls CRM data into your email. It's great for repeat messaging. It sends to the Zoho server. It allows for tracking. Did people actually open my email? Not did they receive it, but did they open it? You can't find that out if you're just using Outlook. The limitations are imposed by Zoho. And this is also we would use if you have automatic workflows. People say to me all the time, "Oh, I want to be able to have automations in there." You have automations, you got to use the Zoho model, at least for this. The integration model requires email client setup, which I'll be going through. The Zoho model requires that dreaded DKIM and template setup. Actually, the template setup is optional, but it requires that DKIM. So again, we could use all methods. You don't have to just pick one method. I was using a lot of this first method, email integration with my Outlook, and I've kind of switched over to doing it a different way, which I'm going to show you because I'd like to be able to know that people are opening my email. Because sometimes I'd send an email to someone and I'd think, are they avoiding me? And sometimes I'd realize, oh, they haven't even opened that email. Maybe my email went to spam. So I'm personally moving a little bit more towards that Zoho email method, which I'll be showing you. So first off, sending one off, getting that non-Zoho email integration. That means we're going to connect Zoho with your Gmail or your Outlook or your Thunderbird or your Apple account. We're going to send directly from the CRM record, and each and every email is going to be personalized, and you will see that email in your Outlook or in your Gmail or whatever your other client is. That's the important thing. Do you want to see it eventually in Outlook? That will require this integration. So before we start, you can't just start using email. There is setup required, and there's a lot of setup. So first thing I'm going to do actually has nothing whatsoever to do with email, but it's something that a lot of people overlook, and that is setting up your personal and your company settings. This stuff is important, guys, particularly if you start using templates. You need to have your personal settings in there, and the personal settings include your email. So we get to our settings by going to that setup button, a little flower in the top right hand corner, the gear shift. We go to our personal settings. You can see we also have company settings. And in the personal settings, we can add email addresses. And in the company, we need to have our physical address. If you're sending templates, they have to be spam compliant. And what part of spam compliancy is that you have a physical address that appears on the bottom of your emails that you send. So I get a lot of people, we go through everything and everything is set up correctly. They've done all the hard technical stuff, but they never bothered to put in their physical address or their company name, things like that. So that's one of the things you're going to do to start with. And we also, before you begin, you're going to need to know something. If you're going to want to integrate this with Outlook or Gmail, you need to know your entire email username and password. Sounds stupid. You also need to know your SMTP and IMAP settings. So Gmail has them. If you've got your own domain, you might have to go to whoever's hosting your domain and find out what your SMTP and your IMAP settings are. You have to know who is hosting your email, and you're going to need your Microsoft or your Google credentials. So get all those usernames and passwords. It's not like you could just set this up without having those passwords ready. So the basic email starts with your email address. So again, when we look at those personal settings, if you're in CRM, you'll see this little thing that says manage email address, and you can add emails. Now, why would you want to add an email here? Well, a lot of you signed up with your Gmail account, for example, kfredericks@gmail.com, because heaven forbid, I don't want spam from Zoho. And then I realized, oh, I need to set up tech vendors. So you're going to have to manage that email address and add a new email address here. If you're using Zoho One, you have to do this in Zoho One. There's the same exact thing. You've got your personal settings, and you'll have to add your email address. And once you do that, you're going to have to verify it. All verification means is Zoho sends you an email, and it says, is this your email address? And you must click yes. That's the verification part. Not hard, but a lot of those Zoho emails go into your spam folder. You never see them. You never verify, and so you're dead on arrival. You're not able to get started. Now, some of you go in there and you try to add an email address and you can't. It says, no, you can't add that email address. And you're all upset. Why can't I add that email address? It's my email address. Well, some of you people have gone out and you've signed up for multiple Zoho trials. And I know that's tempting. Some of you have had other Zoho products you've used before, and then you moved your product. And I've had a number of clients, we can't get them set up. We can't get them set up. Oh, I never signed up for anything. And we search and we search and we hunt and we hunt. If you're one of my clients, I'm able to hunt for you a little bit better. And lo and behold, we find out, oh, 7 years ago, I signed up for this product, or, oh, I didn't realize I was using that product. So that could be one of the gotchas. So once you've verified your email, you need to actually set it up. So again, we go into the setup, that little gear shift, we go into channels and we hit email. So to integrate with Zoho to your email client, it's 3 steps. First, we go into the email configuration area and we hit email and then get started, because we obviously want to get started. Then it lets you pick, what do you want to integrate with? Gmail, Yahoo Mail, Office 365, Desktop Outlook, or other mail. So again, that would be the Apple, the Thunderbird, what if you're using another client. I'm going to choose Outlook because that's what most of you ask me for. You're going to be using something called IMAP. That means that your email will be accessible through Zoho, through your Outlook, through your phone, all that kind of stuff. And then we hit configure. Now, honestly, this is the biggest gotcha I get with 90% of my clients. You need to sign into your Microsoft account. That requires your email address and a password. It is amazing how many of you do not have that information, and until you can sign into your Microsoft account, you tend to water. Ditto for Gmail. If privacy is your thing, like if you're in an organization, you have a bunch of users and you don't want them looking at this email. Most people want to share that email about their clients, but maybe you just don't want to share it, or you don't want to share it with everybody. You could go into that email configuration area and hit email sharing. And you could take all your users and determine, will you share your email with them or not? Doesn't mean they see your whole email account. It just means the emails related to clients who are logged into Zoho, or contacts or leads or deals. They're logged into Zoho. Do you want to share with certain users or not? We also want your signature. This has nothing to do with Outlook integration. You already have your email signature in Outlook, but it's kind of an important thing to set up. We're going to be using this in templates. So as long as you're in this area, you may as well go down here to the compose area and hit add new signature. And what I actually did was just took my signature out of Outlook and copied it here. So if I use Zoho email, if I use Zoho templates, I can use that signature. And I've got that signature in one location. If I need to change my signature, I change it here, and that'll change it in all my templates, change it in all my places that I use it. So to send a Zoho email, this is almost stupidly easy. Through using Outlook or that integrated email provider, you don't do it in Outlook. You don't go into Outlook and send an email and expect it to magically appear. You click on the person's email address. You click on that email address, it opens up your Outlook. This is my Outlook signature. And then I type in, I fill in my subject line, I hit send. It's now in my Outlook outbox. And I could also see, if I look on my contact record under email, you can see I've sent Missy many, many emails over the years. It will actually give me a list of the emails that I've sent, and that they've received that email that I've sent. And tell me that she's opened it, however. So now we're going to delve into email templates a little bit. So this is, again, kind of a 3-step process. You design your template. You could use it over and over and over again. A lot of people think of templates like newsletters or sales pitches. I have all kinds of instructions that I have in templates because people ask me a lot of the same questions over and over again. So I have a lot of templates that I don't use for mass mailing. I use them to send instructions. Oh, how do you sign up for Zoho account? Boom. How do I do this? How do I do that? Boom. I have those set up as templates. It just makes life so much easier than having to write the same thing over and over and over again. We can also, with templates, have merge field personalization. So if you are doing mass mailing, you'll get a lot more brownie points trying to get through spam filters if you say, "Hi, Joel. Hi, Missy," as opposed to "Dear valued client." So when we use those templates, we can personalize them. So some of our template benefits are they're time saving. They can be used in automations. A lot of you want to use automations. You can't use, if you want automations, it's not going to go through your Outlook email. It's got to go through Zoho email. We get reporting, we get read rates, we get clicks. Did the person, not did they receive the email, did it get sent, but did they actually open it? Did they click? It also handles opt out and bounces, which is really important if you're going to start getting into mass emailing. Little known fact, if your list that you're sending to in Zoho CRM, if you have over a 20% bounce rate, you could get blacklisted very easily. A lot of people don't know that because they've been sending to MailChimp and now they have this list again in Zoho. They never bothered to update it, or maybe they bought a list and the list was not the best. You got to be really careful because you do not want to get blacklisted, or what we call having your reputation in jeopardy. It will also handle opt-outs, which is part of the spam compliancy laws. So to do this, to use these templates, you must set up the dreaded DKIM, which stands for, I had to look this up. I had no idea what it stood for, by the way. Domain Keys Identified Mail. So this is my easiest explanation for DKIM. When you send an email from Zoho, Zoho adds a little hidden signature. And the receiving mail server, like your Gmail or Outlook or wherever you're sending it to, checks that signature against your website, against what we call your domain's DNS records. So if it matches, the email's legit, goes through. If something doesn't look right, it looks suspicious, it won't send your email. It will block it. And I give a simple analogy. It's like, well, I could write somebody a check and not put my signature on it and say, well, maybe it'll work. Spoiler alert, it won't. So with DKIM, this is just, I don't want to get too deep in the woods with this, but DKIM is going to help you with spam, deliverability, and all those templates. If you don't have DKIM, you're going to end up, what is DKIM? I mean, why exactly do you have to have it? Well, the main reason is phishing, to make sure no one is impersonating your company. I mean, one of you could go in theoretically and say, oh, I'm going to send this Karen at Tech Vendors. And you could start sending away and just send some kind of trash to all kinds of people, and they think it's Karen at Tech Vendors. That's what we call phishing. By doing this DKIM, it's not going to allow you to do that because it's going to, part of it is SPF, who can send. It's going to make you validate that email and make sure that you are actually Karen at Tech Vendors and you're actually sending through that Tech Vendors website. And yeah, I know some of you have gotten phishing and it looks like it came from you or somebody else, and spammers and nasty people find ways around this, but you guys just want to keep legal and safe and do the right thing. So the bottom line is, without DKIM, you won't be able to mass email or use a template. So the steps to set up DKIM in Zoho: you're going to go to your email settings, you're going to add your domain, you're going to generate and copy what we call a DKIM and an SPF records. There's literally little copy buttons. Then you go to your DNS, which is usually your website provider, and you ask them to add a text record. And then you verify this all in Zoho. If you're hosting with somebody like GoDaddy or Hostinger or HostGator, they are super used to doing this. They do it all the time for people that are using MailChimp or, any of the email clients. So Zoho makes it easy. They give you an easy way to copy these text records and um, just paste them. You go into your provider and just say, hey, would you paste this into my text record? And you give them the stuff that you copied and you're good to go. So here's the DKIM setup. And again, Zoho makes it as easy for you as they can. Again, we went into the channels, we went into email, and this time we went into the email deliverability, and we went into email authentication. And here's where you can add a domain. So I added techvendors.com. I've got another website, Zoho, which you can see is pending. I haven't validated those records yet. That means I haven't added the DKIM to that DNS where it's being hosted. To get those cryptical, magical text records that you give to your hosting provider, you go in here, like if I went to authenticate Zoho, and it gives me the DKIM and it gives me the SPF records, and this is a little copy button. So all I do is I copy it. I usually put it onto Notepad or Word. I call up my hosting juror, your GoDaddy, and then you give this to them in the chat window. You can just paste it in and it works like magic. Then you come back here and you validate it, make sure it all worked. The good news, it only has to be set up once per domain. So if you're working with a company and you've got 6 users, only one guy has to validate your user. So if you're user at my company and user 2 at my company, user 3 at my company, only one person has to go in and do all this stuff. Maybe even have your web guy do it. They're used to doing this too. So once you've done it for one person on your domain, that's it. You don't have to do it again. So creating templates. Again, we go to the customization area and we go into templates. It looks like I was a little off there with my arrow. It looks like it's pointing to translations, but trust me, you're going to go into templates. So when you go into the templates, you hit new template. And you can see all your existing templates. And the cool thing about templates, they could either be private, like only you see them, or you could share them with other people. So if you're the marketing person for a company, you can go in there, you can create your templates, you can share them with the other sales guys. Maybe your sales guys are really good at selling, but they're terrible at spelling. So you can make all the templates, then the sales guy can go in and use those templates. And the cool thing is, if you used a signature merge field, if Joe sends it, they're going to be signed by Joe. If Susie sends it, it's going to be signed by Susie because it's going to be picking up their personal signature. So templates are super cool. By the way, we have 2 types of templates. We're talking about email templates because we're doing email blasts. You'll notice that there's also mail merge templates. Mail merge templates are, those old-fashioned things, the printer and paper, like maybe you have contracts. Those would be your mail merge templates. And the once we hit new template, the thing that is kind of weird, at least for a lot of new Zoho users, your templates are module specific. So if you want to do a newsletter to your contacts, you need to pick contacts. If you want to have a template that's going to be based on your deal information, you have to pick deals. If you're sending out a template to your leads, you have to pick leads. Now, if you have a template, like for me, I create a Wednesday webinar template and I send it out to all my contacts. You can clone a template into another module if you want. So you don't have to start from scratch. So if you are using both the leads module and the company and the contacts module, you can clone those templates. So when you select a template, they don't have they haven't changed these. I think I've been using Zoho for 8, maybe 10 years. They have not changed these templates in all that time. Are these templates great? No. They're totally customizable. So like if it's the holidays, if you're setting out a birthday template, you want to start with this, that's fine. You can customize it. You can change the pictures, do whatever you want. If you're starting with a blank template, believe it or not, I never start with blank. I always start with the one column template. And the reason I start with the one column template, if you look really closely, there's like a little border around it. If I start with a blank template, there's no border around my template. And when people receive it, it's too close to the edges and it just doesn't look right. So I always start with the one column template. That's just me. I want those little border edges. I'm sure you could do it manually, but I'm lazy, so I picked this one. Then you can totally customize this template. If you decide, hey, I don't want this picture, that's a image right there. You just click on that box. This is all like drag and drop into little components or boxes. So I can click on this component, I can hit the garbage can, and it's gone. If I want to add another text box, I can just drag it over. If I want a spacer, like a section between, one group of words and another, I can bring in a spacer. I can put in buttons. I can have columns. I can create a table. I can change my background. You got all these things. Just drag and drop. Once you click on your text, you're going to see one of these formatting things pop up where you can add hyperlinks, you can change your justification, you can bold words, you can put color, you can change your font, you can do all that kind of stuff. Couple of things, I forgot to have an arrow over here. This is where you enter a template name, because obviously you're going to want to name your template. And the super cool thing for me is you also add the subject. So when you send a template, you don't even have to add the subject. It's already there, which is kind of nice. Now you can modify that when you send it, but it's kind of nice. Oops, forgot that subject line. Always nice to have it. Now, a lot of people want to add an attachment. Maybe you're sending out a newsletter. This is where you can set out your attachments. You can see a preview of what this looks like, and you can save it. I believe if you hit preview, you can also send this out samples. Word to the wise, if you don't like to look foolish, I always send out my templates to my Gmail address. I have contacts in my Zoho database with my Yahoo address, with my Gmail address. I bother my husband incessantly with different sends because I always like to send them out quite a bit. Before I send it out to 10,000 people, I'd like to test it first and make sure that everything looks right. Just saying. Down here, this is a little hint. This is that pound key to insert a merge field. So you just put your cursor where you want, someone's name to be. You might type hi space pound key. It's going to show a list of all of your fields, custom fields, system fields that you have in Zoho. So you can pick like first name. So I type in hi space pound. I would select first name and then put in a colon or a comma, and I'm ready to go. You can also pick from the user fields, and that's where you can stick in your signature at the bottom. So to send this, and speak of the devil, there's my handsome husband up there. To send him an email using a template, I could go up here and I could click send email, and I can insert a template, and I can pick a template. So I could use those templates. He asked me for instructions. I can send him the instructions. When the template opens, you can totally change it. When you do a mass mailing, that template, however you saved it, that's what's going to go out. But when you do a one-off, you can add something like, hey, it was great meeting you yesterday. Or, hey, I don't know if I answered your question yesterday, but if not, here's some more instructions. So you can add to the what you're going to be sending to that person on the fly. Now, if you do an e-blast, there's two methods to send it. One is if you have under 100 contacts, you can just go into your list view. And why do I say if you have under 100 contacts? Because, well, depending on your version of Zoho, you're limited to either 50 or 100 contacts in your list view. With Zoho 1, I have 100 contacts. So I can go in, I can do some kind of custom view, do some kind of filter, and all I have to do is select at the top, and I can select all those people in my custom view. So if I had in this case, 44 records. I selected them all. Then you notice once I select them, there's a nice little button. I get people all the time that says, well, I selected them. How do I send them an email? I guess you click on that send email button. And when I hit send email, it's going to ask me to pick my template. So I picked the template I just created. And it's also going to show me you've got a send limit. Now, if you're in Zoho CRM standard, I think it's 250. What's the next one? Professional is 500. Zoho 1 is 1,000. You can get those limits increased. There's a slight charge for it, but you can increase it. But to me, it's kind of nice. I can see, hey, I want to send to these 44 people. I've already sent 931 out of my allotted 1,000. Now, my math isn't always the greatest, but I got about 70 less than I can send. And this is only 44. Yeah, it's telling me I'm safe to send. If you try to send over your allotment, it will send up to your allotment. So in this case, it would send 69 emails, and then anything over 69, it would not send. So it's kind of nice that it tells you where you are, where you stand for that limit today. Send an e-blast method number 2. This is where you want to send over that 50 or that 100 that appear on your contact list. So again, my arrow's a little off here. It should be pointing to the 3 dots, that more. And when I go more, it's going to give me mass mail. When I go into mass mail, it's going to say, oh, do you want to create a mass mail, which to me is kind of intuitive because, yeah, I just send mass email. But then it also does give me the sent area so I can see prior mass mails that I've sent. If I want to see some of the reporting, what the read rate was, the open rate, that kind of stuff. So to send this, I pick a custom view. You want to have a custom view before you send your email blast. That's the best way to do it. Fun tip, what is the one thing every single one of you needs to have in your custom view for e-marketing? Email address. I get a lot of people that find all their clients, they find various sectors, they find states, they find cities, and then they go, Karen, it didn't work. Yeah, because you included people that have no email addresses. And Zoho starts to send it, and it gets bogged down. It goes through there. It's like, the first 20 had no email addresses, and it just stops the procedure. So you want to have a custom view. You select your template. You have it from, and this is where you could say, hey, this is from Susie, or this is from Joey. This is where you marketing people can send on behalf of your dim-witted salespeople, I shouldn't say that, who maybe don't do marketing like they should, or maybe don't spell as well as they could. We can create follow-up actions. Hey, if people click over 10 times, send me an email. If people, if their email bounces, put it on my task list to find a new email. You could have follow-up emails. Maybe you're having a sale and you want to send out a spring sale notice, and then a week later send out a reminder of the spring sale, and then maybe 2 weeks later say last chance for the spring sale. So this is where you could, the fun starts to happen. These are basic automations. There's lots of other automations you could use with templates, but these are the basic ones. Okay. Here's another little trick. Again, going back to my husband, and if any of you run into him, do not tell him that I embarrassed him all over this webinar. It will not bode well for Karen. And by the way, he's an attorney. That's why you're seeing that law there. And he's on his way snowboarding. And I just thought it was so cute. So I like to put that up there. But normally, I could send him an email through Outlook. I could just click on his email address. Off it goes. And I may or may not know that he read it or responded to it. But I can get super sneaky. And I can go up here and hit send email. I do not have to use a template. I just go into send email. Now, the difference, when you look at your email history on the contact page, the ones I send through Zoho will show me that it was opened. Oh, you didn't read my email, did you? Oh, yes, I know you did because it was open. As opposed to when I send them through Outlook, I'm already only going to know that it was sent. Yes, I know some of you are going to argue, well, Outlook has that read, open read, was it read? That feature doesn't work because people like me turn it off, which means you may think you're going to get that read notification, but if I've turned it off, you won't. So sneaky little thing, and that's why I'm using this more and more. I instead of clicking on the email address, I'm hitting send email, not using the template, just filling in whatever I want, just like I would have in Outlook. I won't see it in my Outlook sent folders, but this is worth a lot to me to know that it was opened. Okay, so bringing it all together. So we have the Outlook and the Google integration, where we can track all that correspondence that we have in Outlook back into Zoho. We have templates, which lets us track open rates, and we can use it in emails and e-blasts. We have DKIM, which is a necessary evil if you're going to be sending your email using Zoho. And all this means no more digging through your inbox. Oh, what was that email that I sent to Missy? Oh, all I have to do is pull up Missy's record. It's right there on that email tab. So got a bonus tip for you. And I know I'm geeky. You may not think this is that great of a bonus tip. I think this one is worth its weight in gold. So I discovered a product called LinkedIn Finder. And I have to say, this is the best $12 that I've spent lately. $12 a year. I had to show you the screenshot because I know you won't believe me. This is $12 a year. You can pay monthly. It's $1 a month. You don't save anything, but I thought, you know what? For $12, I'm going to be a big spender. You get this product by going up to your setup area and going into the Zoho marketplace. There are thousands upon thousands of products in that Zoho marketplace. LinkedIn Finder is one that I just literally found. No pun intended. So you're going to hit all. You're going to search for it. So I typed in linked because you might not remember what it's called. And I go, oh, yeah, here it is, LinkedIn Finder. And it runs you through this. I think it gave me a trial. I don't remember now. Runs you through a little installation process. Now, what this product is going to do is literally send out the invitation to help you find people that in Zoho that have LinkedIn profiles. It's not going to update their records. It's not going to give you their email address. It's not going to give you their address. It's just going to help you connect to them. So the way it works, if any of you were Zoholics, by the way, Ali was one of the presenters there. He had like a gray and white goatee, very big round glasses. He's a very cool looking character. So I wanted to link into him. So I pulled up his record and I hit LinkedIn Finder. And sure enough, it went in, and based on the fact that he works at Zoho, and his name's pretty, it's not a generic name. It's not like he's a Tom Brown or something. It found him, and I could send him the invitation, and done. Now, what happens is this LinkedIn profile will put a field in here. It adds a field, and you can click that and get right to their LinkedIn profile if you want. Also, when you are in your contacts list, you can put that field here. That kind of tells me, like if I look at maybe my recently created contacts, I can tell who I haven't linked in with yet because I don't have anything here. Because if I was linked in with them, it would show me what the profile is. I could go in my contact list and I can go right here and hit LinkedIn Finder. I'm just going to go out there and find the person and I could link into them. I thought that was very cool. So I recently was at a very large trade show in Orlando, courtesy of Zoho. They had a booth there at the ISA convention, and I am not real good at that kind of stuff. I've not really had, I know some of you probably go to more trade shows than I do. I haven't gone to a lot. And one of the things that I've learned is when you're in this trade show, in addition to paying for the booth, so that you could exhibit, they also wanted you to pay $500 and some for this little scanner. So when people came by, you could scan their badges. Because a lot of these trade shows are no longer giving you lists of the attendees like they used to. And I was like, $550. I don't know if that's really going to be worth it to me. So I kind of did a DIY and it worked out really well. So first off, if you don't know about it, there's something called the Zoho card scanner. It's free. It's on the Apple Store, on the Google Marketplace Store. So I had my little card scanner. People would come by and I would just take a picture of the card scanner of their business card. And it was instantly added to my Zoho CRM instantly. At the end of the week after I was at this trade show, I went in, I looked at, double checked all the entries just to see if, like some of the characters didn't come out right or something looked weird. And I also looked them all up and globally marked them with the name of the trade show. So I knew, what the source was of all these contacts. Then I reached out to them on LinkedIn, doing exactly that LinkedIn finder, found all the people I met at ISA, went out, linked into all of them. And then I sent them an email, not clicking on their email address, but hitting that send email button so that I could see if they actually opened my email, because it might have gone to spam. And if it was somebody I really wanted to come in contact with, I followed up with a phone call. So this is, you putting all these pieces together. Quick note, you guys like that? Yeah, I'm glad you like that. I thought I was pretty proud of myself. So thank you. I could use a few kudos on that one. Quick note, some of you are getting messages. The old UI will be discontinued as of July 15th. This has been about 2 years in the making. The old UI has all your modules, contacts and deals and tasks along the top of the screen in what they call a tab format. The new, and that's being discontinued. A lot of you have already gotten messaging out the wazoo that says, do you want to try that new UI? And, and for a while they let you switch back to the old UI. Now they're no longer letting you switch back. So you will be moving to the new UI. I'm told it's because it's going to have, some of the AI and stuff that they're adding can't be added to the old UI. So that's why they had to change it. The new UI is this one here that's going to have all your modules going down the side. And again, you got these little buttons that you could actually collapse this stuff if you feel it's taking up too much screen. So I know a lot of times I work and I just turn these things off because I want to have a little bit more screen, especially when I'm working on my laptop. Okay. Any questions? I am not seeing any questions. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. Is my Z email the sales inbox? Oh, that's a good question. I like that. Okay, so the sales inbox, good question. The sales inbox is something different. The sales inbox, let's say you have like an info email address and you've got 10 salespeople. The sales inbox can be whoever gets there first reads the email. It's kind of like a shared email account, if you will. Is what we call, theoretically, it's what we call an alias that people can share. So your Z email is not necessarily in your sales inbox. That's usually a secondary email that many people. So Steve, you probably have a Steve email account, and then you have like an info. We got two Stevens asking questions. Could I send out slides? Again, you must have missed the beginning. I'm not going to be sending out slides, but I will be posting them on my YouTube channel, and I will be sending you a link to the YouTube channel so you can watch it. You can take screenshots. You can get it all that way. Okay. Where do I go to see all of my email that I've sent? Again, you're not really, if you're using templates, you're going to go into your templates to see what you sent. If you're looking for the email that you sent, you would be looking for the individual contact. They also give you, I don't have a screen, I don't think that would show this, but you have a button kind of at the top of CRM that will show you, like, it gives you like kind of a list of like everything you've done, including all the email you've sent. So that's in the top right corner. Okay, other questions? So I hope you learned something. If you still have questions, feel free to reach out. If you haven't signed up for Zoho already, let me know and I'll get you um, uh, some more information. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me and I will get them answered. And if you have a topic for a future webinar, please run it by me. Usually, like I said, I picked this topic because this is absolutely the number one question I get from my clients. But if you have another question, run it by me. I think next month I'm going to be talking about Zoho Books, CRM to books integration, invoicing, quoting. Those of you that are still using QuickBooks, you can do invoicing and quoting in Zoho, even if you're not using Zoho Books. So there's a lot of confusion around that. Okay, and thank you. I've got a couple of you, thanking me for the presentation always. Again, I'll be posting this up to YouTube. You have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And thank you for sharing your afternoon with me. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.